Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey Tom, how are you today? You look like you're in you're like being held hostage in a room, which is my favorite Tom day.
The Tom held hostage in the room day?
Yes.
Well,
Would you just read your statement to us and then we can move on? I'm not being held against my will here.
I'm not being held against my will. It is the holidays. My office space serves as another bedroom, and so that's why I'm here.
You are probably not alone today or this week. I think a fair number of people probably understand the nuance of family and friends and work and balancing the two today and really all week.
No, absolutely. And, it's one of those, I'm grateful that I have the space to be able to do this. Some people feel like they don't have any space to do it, and they'd have to try to do it in the middle of the room or in their car or somewhere else. So it is great. So for those people who are listening to the podcast, I'm in a different space. Typically, I'm in my office with my backdrop. I am actually in our bedroom and making the most of what we have.
Computer on your knees, right?
Correct.
Yes.
It's a very different experience, and headphones in and all that. So that's okay though. It's for the podcast people, they don't know any different.
That's right. Although I think your sound is better today.
Interesting. Maybe. Well, that's fine. That's interesting because I usually use a mic in my office. Either way.
Yeah.
One of the things
Hey,
go ahead.
We got to get to the important news here today, Tom.
I was just about to do that too. Go ahead. You can share.
No, you can. I'm excited but nervous, but go ahead. Spill the beans.
So we are proud to add LinkedIn to our plethora of options where people can gather this, watch or listen to this show.
No,
so yesterday
we were on LinkedIn. That's not the exciting part, Tom. We've done LinkedIn. Anyone can do LinkedIn, but now we are LinkedIn Live.
Yes, that is correct. We are now live on LinkedIn.
No, not LinkedIn Live. LinkedIn Live.
Okay. Awesome. Yes.
Every time you say it, I'm going to say LinkedIn Live.
So we are streaming now to more places live, which is awesome. It's a great way for us to share our message more broadly. And it's interesting. We have applied how many times to LinkedIn, Bob, to try to get this show up and running?
Many.
And I'm very grateful.
For so long, Tom, we were LinkedIn dead.
Correct. And
it's worth it just to see your face.
Yes, unfortunately, the people listening to the podcast have no idea what you're talking about, except they probably can imagine the fact that you using that voice means that I'm giving some reaction to it. So
yes,
and we're very appreciative for all the people who follow our Renegade Success Network page on LinkedIn. That was a key component of being able to get access to LinkedIn.
LinkedIn Live. Sorry, I was trying. I've got some logistics I have to do, and it's hard to do them. LinkedIn Live has created a complication for me, but I am powering through, Tom. I care.
We just need to get more people to like or follow our Renegade Success Network page. All those thousands and thousands of connections you have on your other business page and your personal page. Time to shift them over.
Okay.
New game in town, the Renegade Success Network.
Watch out. So if you're new to this, folks, here's what we do. Tom and I have a discussion around a topic. Usually we have a bigger topic for the week, what I might call a theme. And then we break it down into nice little nuggets each day. Our goal is not to be the experts. Tom and I are not the experts. We're just two guys trying to figure things out using some of our experience, perspective, and knowledge, some of other people's, and what we've discovered along the way. And what really is interesting about this show, and if you're going, why would I watch this or listen to this? We get to a place each week that Tom and I did not expect to get to. And usually our discoveries are discoveries that might be applicable to you and you might be able to put into use. Maybe today, maybe next week, maybe next month, maybe next year. But still, as you gather that knowledge, experience, and perspective, it gives you a broader sense of what is going on in the business world, in your world, and with your customers, whoever they are, or your team. If you're a team leader, this also works very well because we often talk about topics about how organizations are influenced. And so there's a lot here. Don't say that, oh, I saw them on LinkedIn Live one time and it was over. I'm just thinking, I don't know if anyone's in this building, but they're going to be very upset with me very soon. I'm going to be dead.
Fair enough. So welcome everyone, not only those of you who joined us for the first time on LinkedIn Live, but also to those of you who listen to our podcast and who watch us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Please feel free, if you are on any of those except the podcast, to share comments. We will include them in the show, and it impacts and has a great value to what we are sharing. And at the end, if you have your one thing, please feel free to share that as well, because we know that what your knowledge, experience, and perspective is different, and that there might be others out there who are looking for exactly what you have to share, and they are just gathering it through this means. So we hope that you will participate as we go through our discussion today about being grateful and when it matters. And before we do that, what we do at the start of every show, for those of you who are new, is we celebrate. We celebrate something that is going on today. And so, Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I am celebrating the one thing to celebrate today, which is we are finally on LinkedIn Live.
Yeah, that didn't help your cause in your office either. And I appreciate that celebration. While I am also celebrating that, I also am celebrating the fact that yesterday we have been working on this app as a way to connect and engage with people in a different manner, in a way that they can use on their phone, that's accessible, and that we can connect to them directly rather than worrying about what the algorithm is on some platforms. And
well done.
And yesterday we were able to submit it to to the Apple Store and Google Play to be approved for an app. And so we now get to sit and wait and see where when that lands and when it'll be available. The really cool thing about it is that while it's not yet available as an app to download, you can still access it via the internet, and you can look just like you have an app on your phone when you put a link on your home screen of your phone that will connect you directly to the web page that will offer you a very similar experience as what you'll get on the app. And the key part of that program is our 6-week Find Success the Renegade Way. And we'll talk more about that at the end, but that's what I'm celebrating today.
Wow, awesome.
What is the nation celebrating?
It's a big day, Tom. It's National Sardine Day.
Oh,
I know. I think
are you a sardine person?
Right. Let's just move on. We did our celebration. We did our national celebration like we do each day, and let's just keep moving on because we have all those people on LinkedIn Live who are expecting great things from us.
Well, what about those people who like sardines, sell sardines, go out and I don't think you manufacture sardines, but you put them, you can them. Those people deserve a little bit of love too, right?
I always get sardines and anchovies mixed up. Anchovies are what you put on pizza, right?
Correct.
What do you do with a sardine?
I have no idea. And that doesn't mean we can't celebrate them. So,
okay. All right.
Kudos to all of you who enjoy sardines and to those of you who can them so others can enjoy sardines. I would imagine that it's difficult to sell sardines if people don't like us don't know what they're used for. And so maybe they could use a little help getting their message out differently so that people better understand. If you're one of those people, we would be happy to talk to you about how you can look differently at your message.
And if the National Sardine Association of America would like to sponsor our program, we'd be happy to, find a way.
Absolutely.
I don't know if there's a National Sardine Association of America.
I might have to look it up because they probably have a conference where we maybe could speak at. Talk to them about their messaging so that people better understand.
Wait, you ready for it?
No.
We could give a canned presentation.
Actually, that may have been one of your best in 400
I thoroughly enjoyed the moment. That's one where I saw it in my head or heard it in my head, and I'm like, can I deliver it without messing it up? Because it's so good.
And without saying, see what I did there? For those of you who this is the first time listening, there are some tendencies that show up fairly regularly within this show. And if you're willing to stick with us, you will see them come out pretty often. All right, well, let's dive into, now that we're 11 minutes into the show, let's dive into our topic. All week we've been talking about being grateful. We talked a little bit about what it was, why it matters. And today we're going to talk about when it matters. So do you want to kick us off with that conversation, Bob?
I think I have come to the place in the last few months where I realized that being grateful is 24/7. It's not just when the client gives me a big check. It's not just when our app gets approved or we're on LinkedIn Live. It's always. It's the little stuff. It's the, I'm blessed to be in an office today where it's beautifully, temperature's perfect. I'm not being disrupted. I can get work done while other things are going on in other places. I think the more we can recognize those things, and by your definition of just being present to whatever, good, bad, indifferent, happy, sad, doesn't matter. Just being open and aware of the opportunities and also what we can learn from it. That's a 24/7 thing to me. I mean, I learn lessons when I'm at the grocery store. I learned lessons, like I was at the grocery store the other night and I was noticing that we often buy broccoli. And the price of broccoli was a lot higher than it's been in the last couple months. The thought in my head was, wow, broccoli is getting more expensive. People who eat broccoli are going to have to trim somewhere else. That's going to start to have a ripple effect. And we're going to see, and even though I see it with broccoli, that could put pressure on pricing for goods and services, and that could affect people's ability to do things that I get paid for, and also to do things for what my clients get paid for. So there's an opportunity to, rather than just go and pick up my broccoli and put it in the plastic bag, to really think through and learn a lesson from it. Not be like, my first thought was, oh, broccoli's more expensive. I'm going to stop eating broccoli. But then I moved to the bigger lesson. What does this say about my whole world? And what does this help me prepare for? Does that make any sense at all? I'm not sure.
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely it does. I think, it's interesting. I was thinking along the same lines. And I think so often we think about being grateful at our highest highs or our lowest lows, right? We try to and I think that we often forget that sort of large middle area where things are just going along and we don't stop to take the time to think about grateful for whatever it is, grateful for a quiet moment, grateful for, a conversation that didn't go as planned. And if we are always thinking about how can we learn from an experience, I think it's a lot easier to be grateful. This is what I gained from it. Even again, those ones that are awful, we think, okay, how do I step aside and figure out what I am grateful for and what I've learned from that? But it's those small moments that it's funny. I have a good friend who deals with people in Silicon Valley and coaches around that, business leaders there. And one of her favorite phrases is being there for moments that matter. And
Mhm.
I think one of her tenets of that is that every moment matters. And it's just how we decide to take from that moment and learn from that moment so that we can truly be grateful for every moment that we have because it's offering us something. As we talk about, it changes what's real for us. Every conversation we have, whether we think it's monumental or not worth the time of day, has impact on what's real for us. It changes our knowledge, experience, and perspective and allows us what's real for us to be different. And so often, those everyday occurrences that we sort of take for granted are ones that where we truly can find something different and unique to take from every situation because once we have done it, we are now moving forward into even a similar experience is different because we've had it once before.
I like all that. I also like the idea that as you were saying that there are two people. If we're having a discussion, there are two or more people. While you might be saying, Tom, something you've said to hundreds of people over the years, the person listening to it, this might be the first time they hear it, or this might be the moment when it clicks. And I am amazed at how many times I run into people and they'll be like, I don't know if you remember this discussion we had. And I'm like, sometimes yes, sometimes no. I remember having a discussion, but I couldn't tell you the contents. So like, you said this thing that changed how I deal with this thing. It's like, really? And I'm in my book, it was just another of a million discussions. To that person, it was a defining moment. So if we're grateful, sometimes just being grateful is grateful to have the opportunity to have a discussion with someone, not knowing what they might need. I've all this week I've tried to be thankful with the people I interact with for some medical care. And yesterday I had an appointment and I said to a woman that has been really vitally valuable to me in so many ways. I said to her, I'm really thankful for what you bring to me. You always bring your A game and all this. And she said, you've made me a better person, a better spouse, a better person in my field because of the way you show up. And I think that's what's available to us when we're grateful, when we appreciate moments, is that exchange. I don't think that exchange would have occurred if I hadn't initiated it. And it changed my entire day. Like, whoa, I had no idea that I was making a difference to this person. If you had said to me yesterday morning, tell me about this interaction, I've been like, Tom, it's routine. I do this routinely, and this is what I get. It's all focused on Bob's care. I never thought that my care could help another person, even though they're the caregiver, just because they came at it with the desire to learn. Like, oh, and we've had discussions where it's like, well, wait a second, that's help me understand that. And I've explained things to that person, never in I'm smart. The relationship, it's funny, the relationship is really they're here and I'm here because of the medical situation. But what happened yesterday was it leveled. And I would have never expected that. And I think we have that availability in our lives a lot. I think I see it with nieces and nephews as they get older. It moves from like an advisor and mentor role to kind of like, hey, so now that I've been married a couple of years, I see what you're going through. And then you talk on a different level. And I think we don't see that. We see everything from our lens of that discussion was useful, that meeting was valuable, that was this. But what if maybe something that doesn't register to us has a huge effect on some other person?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that the challenge is so often we don't know where they're at when they are receiving whatever the occurrence is. I was thinking about conversations with team members that I was a part of, and I may have said the same thing to them over and over and over again. And to me, I keep thinking like, well, why aren't they getting this? And in reality, I don't think about it from where are they at. And they may not, the 10 times I said it before, they may not have been ready to hear it. And so if I didn't keep sharing it, and if I didn't keep thinking about, well, I'm trying to have an impact on them, at some point it'll settle in. It's kind of like what you're saying about your nieces and nephews, is that at some point they're like, the light bulb goes off for them, not for you. You've been sharing it, and now they differently understand what you have been talking about. And I think if we aren't grateful for every moment that we have and every opportunity that we have to interact with someone or something, then we maybe stop sharing. And we just think that, oh, they're not getting it. So I'm just gonna leave it alone and let them try to figure it out. And when in reality, they are just not at a point yet where they can see, understand, and appreciate what you're trying to share with them. It's interesting. One of the coaches that I had in college um, always used to say that, one of the things he he really valued was, not necessarily where they were at while in school, but where did they get to afterwards? What lessons did they take from basketball that would transition into what they would deal with in their life? And I think so often as the player, we would just be like, oh my God, the coach will he just stop saying that? And it's only typically years later where we look back and be like, wow, now I understand. Now I'm at a point where I can really appreciate all these things they did, when they were upset because somebody showed up late to practice, or, weren't doing exactly why it mattered that you ran the play this way. Those things all come back to us later and we're like, so that's what, and at some point it strikes us.
Right.
And I think as the person sharing that or receiving it, that when we stop being grateful for that is when we stop listening. Like there are times when I know you'd be sitting on the bench next to the coach and they'd be sharing some probably very important, and I would be like, oh my God, I can't listen to this. I just got out, I'm tired. I'm just getting yelled at for something usually somebody else did.
Right.
And I just tuned them out. And I think I was in that moment not grateful for what the wisdom that they were sharing. Whether that wisdom was going to change my life or it might just change the next time I go out and play, it's wisdom. It's what their knowledge, experience, and perspective that they are sharing. And I think being grateful in every moment allows us to make bigger strides quicker. Because we start to think about learning.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. And it's easy to have the highs and lows and go, oh, this is amazing, or I'm so grateful for this great opportunity, blah, blah, blah. And it's real easy for some people, not everyone, but real easy when it's not a great opportunity to be like, well, at least I have a car to drive to not get the job, or at least I have gasoline in my car and we go down that road. That middle 80% seems to me where the opportunity is. And most of the lessons I learned are in that middle 80%. They're
Sure.
not, the highs and lows tend to have the lessons come at you pretty quick and pretty loudly. The billboard is out. When you have a great experience, you want to do more of it. When you have a bad experience, I find the billboard's out. But when you're humming along at everything's just routine, there's no billboard saying, hey, Bob, I got this lesson for you. There's this thing you're not doing that you could do, or this thing you're doing that you couldn't do that would help you get where you're going. So really thinking about that in the sense of being grateful for every moment and being aware. And I also think when you were talking about your sports experience, not being selfish, to sit on the bench and worry about, I'm tired and this, I've been yelled at, that's very selfish. When we can go out and be less selfish and more selfless, that's when I think the chance to really learn and grow is truly available to us.
Absolutely.
So one thing for you newcomers on LinkedIn Live, we have one thing that Tom and I each offer that helps us at least bring things together from the discussion. So what's your one thing today, Tom?
Yes, you mean my antidote for today?
Your today's antidote on today's antidote.
I think that when I think about when it matters, and I think we've talked about this, so I think it's kind of a culmination of all of it.
Don't culminate yet. We got 2 more days of this.
It's the culmination of today's show.
Okay, all right.
Culmination of when it matters.
Okay, all right.
We'll get to Friday when we get to Friday.
Okay.
I'm trying to live in the moment and really be grateful for the moment that we have.
Touche.
And I guess that would be my one thing, is that if we can think of every moment as a moment that matters. It's easy at Thanksgiving to want to be thankful and grateful because you're around family, and that's kind of the season. It's easy at a
Not everyone's grateful to be around their family, Tom, just so we're clear.
Well, maybe they ought to consider that, because there might be something they can learn, even though they maybe don't always see eye to eye with their family. That may be the opportunity for them to really find growth and change. And I think that that's the piece that I think is when it matters, that it always matters. And it's easy to do it, as you said, when the highs and the lows, at special holidays. It's harder to do it when you're just going through your daily routine, let's say with your family or with your teammates at the office, and truly appreciate every moment that you have with them and what that moment might bring to you. Because if you are open to being grateful at that time, there are going to be more lessons learned, more information gathered, more perspective changing, than if we just see it as just another ho-hum day. There's nothing I can gain from this meeting that I've attended for the last 12 years that's always on the first Tuesday of the month. And I know exactly what the leader is going to say, and I know how someone else is going to react. Well, we've closed ourselves off to being grateful, to be in the room with people who are sharing what is real for them. But I think that's my one thing.
I would add one thing to that. I really like that. My one thing would be that as you're grateful, it models being grateful to other people. And there may be a way for them to also get a lesson. So as you're learning something, they may learn something too. And I think that's the opportunity. Like, I'm thinking about Thanksgiving and time when we're with family and friends, to be open to whatever. If someone's explaining to you a different political perspective or a different medical perspective, which could very well happen tomorrow, being open to just discovering why that person thinks what they think, and not just closing off and going, no, that's wrong, but really listening, because 98% or 99% of human beings is all the same. It's that 1% that's different.
Sure.
And when I try to keep that in mind when I'm having a disagreement with someone. It's like, we're disagreeing over such a small percentage of this. Why am I so upset? So, and I think that's another way of looking at that grateful idea.
Certainly. Well, thank you for joining us today, everyone, especially our new viewers on
LinkedIn Live. Maybe
Hopefully.
I can get a job. Listen to live from New York. It's Saturday night. That guy's got to be tired of doing that every week. I mean, being up at 11:30 and doing that. Maybe I can.
Challenges there.
I might be able to get that job.
You might. I
definitely. I could be like Michael Strahan, who does the morning show every day, and then he does all the football stuff over the weekend, and somehow gets enough sleep to be functional.
Absolutely. So, all right, everyone, if you have your one thing, please feel free to share it in the comments. If you are listening to the podcast, we would love it if you would share it with others who you think might benefit from this information or these discussions. We also would hope you might rate our broadcast.
5 stars. There's only one answer, people. 5 stars. 5 stars tells people we matter, and it spreads the word about renegades and all this great stuff.
Yes. So another way for you to connect and engage with us is we have a Facebook group. It's called the Ring of Renegades. It's easy to join. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and you can be around our community that we have built of people who want to look at things differently, who care about every moment and try to find value in all of those moments and opportunities. It is a private group, so all you have to do is ask to join and tell us why you're a renegade. And then you can become a part of our growing community where we are helping people take their next step along their own unique pathway to success. So we hope that we will see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, big Thanksgiving Day show, for our next edition of today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, embrace the renegading you. It's worth it.
And go out and find out why we have sardines and what their value is. It may make a huge difference in who and what you are, and it might not. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks for listening to today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.